Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hello and welcome to Share Talk. I am Bonnie Hughes. We are speaking with Caracal Gold today. They are targeting initial gold production of 1,000 ounces per month on their mining project in Kenya. And today they made an announcement regarding the acquisition of 2 advanced stage projects in Tanzania. Jason Brewer, Commercial Director, is here to tell us about the company. Hello, Jason.
Hi, Bonnie, and good afternoon to you there.
So you announced 2 acquisitions today in Tanzania, and it's extremely impressive that you were able to acquire one of the projects for US $7 an ounce of gold in the ground, and the second project for US 3.38 ounces of gold in the ground. Tell us about the projects and how it fits in with your growth strategy.
Sure, and thanks for this opportunity. We announced the 2 acquisitions today. The first asset is called Nyakafuru. It's in the Lake Victoria Goldfields, which is one of Africa's largest gold producing regions. It's an asset which has previously been explored by Resolute Mining, which is both London and ASX listed. It's got an existing resource of 1 million ounces, of which 600,000 ounces is in licenses that have already been granted. And there's an existing application in for one of the other areas, one of the other deposits, which has another 400,000 ounces. So it's a big project for us. It in itself doubles the resources which we have. And it's a project which was taken all the way through to feasibility study by its previous owners. So it's one we're very excited about. It's one we believe we can get in there. We can add additional resources because there's tremendous opportunity with a number of prospects already identified there. And we can clearly look at updating and revising a feasibility study to look to develop a project producing annually anywhere from 50 up to 100,000 ounces per annum. So it's a big project for us, and it's in a world-class mining environment. You've got both Barrick Gold, Anglo Gold Ashanti, operating gold mines there, which have been operating for over 20 years. So that's the key asset there. And then you've got the Simba project, which is just along strike from that, with about 320,000 ounces, which will bring into a more regional consolidated project.
How did you have the ability to acquire these projects that are so advanced at such a great cost to you?
Yes, look, I mean, the cost is an interesting one. I've just been looking at some historical exploration costs, discovery costs. And I think it was reported between 2009 and 2018, the average cost of discovering an ounce of gold in the ground was $62 an ounce. So we're picking it up for less than 10% of that. So it's a tremendous acquisition, great value for our shareholders. We've got it because we're on the ground. We're already here operating in East Africa, here in Kenya, and we've got our producing Kilimapesa gold mine, which all our shareholders know about. But our board and senior management, we're all here and we're looking at growing this business. And we're able to get out, meet stakeholders, project owners, and we're able to negotiate face-to-face, not out of an office in Vancouver, Toronto, London, or Perth or Sydney. We're actually on the ground. So we're able to move very quickly. We're agile. We're very flexible in our approach, but we're pretty driven. So we want to grow this business, and there's no better time than the present to do that.
So I noticed that the historical drill results on both acquisitions are very good, near surface, wide intercepts, and high grades. That's impressive.
Yes, I mean, you only have to look at something like Voyager, where you've got, I think, some of those things coming from near surface, 19 meters at 17 grams, 20 meters at over 10, 46 meters at 3. So you've got very high grade intersections over quite extensive meters. So you've got a very good shallow open pit operation there. And those previous studies actually worked out mining rates, pit designs, everything for that Voyager, Mental, Lewin, Grange deposits there at Nyakafuru. So we're excited by that. It's going to be your typical Lake Victorian open pit mine development. No rocket science at all. Mines which have been operating in that region since the 1990s. So, very excited by what those projects can bring to us. And I think from a historical drilling intercepts, some of the highest you'll probably see in London for some time, that's for sure.
Well, of course, high grade and near surface makes for much lower all-in costs when it comes to production.
Absolutely. And that's one of the benefits we have here. It's You've got some of those historical reports which put together that whole operating cost profile. I think people can find out some of those results just from the internet. There's so much information out there on Nyakafuru, for example. Looking at down the track, if we're able to get these open pit operations producing at the sort of ounces which I mentioned earlier, at less than $900 an ounce, I think that's a great return for the sort of investment we're likely to make over the coming years.
And especially at the current gold price, which is probably going to stay somewhat stable where it is.
Oh, look, we're excited about the gold price. I think when you see that we're producing already, so we're generating cash flow out of Kenya, and we're using that in Kenya, mind, for further expansions, and we've made that very clear in our announcements. But we benefit directly from this high gold price. We're also going to benefit from it because we've got an accelerated time frame for these projects. We've got all that exploration done already, so we've got a running start in this.
And so what are the next steps for those projects?
Look, with Nyakafuru, it's a case of getting in there, getting on the ground very quickly, looking at an increase in the resources, like I say, both on the existing deposits, and there's 4 deposits which have already been defined, but also on the dozen or so prospects along strike from Voyager, Mental, and so on. So we'll increase the resource base there. There's no question about that. And we'll be appointing a projects team that will be going in there, reviewing all those historical mine processing and development studies with a view of putting together a more up-to-date and definitive feasibility study, upon which we'll then make the development decision there. With Simba, it's a little bit earlier stage, but we will bring that in. That's 320,000 ounces, 25 Ks along strike from Nyakafuru. That'll be brought into a more regionally focused exploration program and comprise a single project there, I guess, at Nyakafuru. So lots more high-grade exploration results we're anticipating, and moving very quickly to a feasibility study updated and development decision.
Do you have the cash available to take the projects to this first stage that you want to?
We mentioned in the announcement today, we've been approached, we've been discussing with a number of parties about convertible note funding, and we've reached indicative terms there. We've done that because it's less dilutive to our shareholders. I think when people talk about dilution, I think you've got to also take into consideration that you're picking these projects up at 10%, less than 10% of the cost of what people would ordinarily discover them with the drill rig. And also you then have to take into consideration all the feasibility study work that's been done. So from a dilution point of view, to fund this, we want Tanzania to be a standalone financing center, self-funded. We don't want to take money out of Kenya when that money's earmarked for some substantial growth in Kenya. Take that project not just to the 1,000 ounces, to the 2,000 ounces and north up to over 50,000 ounces down the track. So we don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. So we've looked at Tanzania, and we think the nature of those assets, they can support standalone funding there. And that's what we've been pursuing in the background. And we've been very encouraged by all the approaches we've received. And we're pushing ahead with that. So very excited with what Tanzania can bring to us.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And Tanzania is the 4th largest gold producer in Africa. Just give us an overview of the political and regulatory environment in the country.
Yeah, Tanzania in the 90s went through tremendous growth in its mining sector with some very investor-friendly policies which were put in place. And that led, like I say, to the Barricks of this world, the Anglos of this world, building some world-class mines. Barrick's got North Mara, they've got Bulyanhulu, Anglo Gold have got Gator. Those 3 mines have operated for more than 20 years. So it's a world-class mining jurisdiction in the gold sector. Several years ago, there were policies which put off a number of investors entering Tanzania. However, with the new president, there's been a dramatic shift, I guess, in policy, in putting in place more investor-friendly regulations to attract mining investment. And you've seen a number of projects which have been stalled for some as long as 3 years have been unlocked in months. So it's become a very investor-friendly jurisdiction, one which balances the need to support the local communities to ensure that there is a fair distribution of revenues from these projects. And it's one we're excited to have got involved with. And I think our timing coming into Tanzania or going into Tanzania is as good as perfect as you can get.
Well, that is great. Jason, thank you so much for speaking with us today. And we look forward to following the growth of the company and speaking with you again.
Thank you very much, Bonnie. I look forward to giving more updates, that's for sure.
And thank you very much for joining us on Share Talk.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.